As the content creation manager, I'm a little bit of an outsider to investment and real estate. Most of what I know I've actually learned simply from being in the industry as a photographer for real estate agents and just sucking up what I know by osmosis. But I've recently purchased my first home with my partner. It's an apartment in a suburb in Canberra that's quite new. But from our point of view, we may be considering further on down the track using that as an investment property if we'd like to move to a larger place. You know, what would you say to someone in that situation regarding negative gearing?
Yeah, so in that situation for you, in your case as a first home buyer, if you can increase your wealth, wealth creation in Australia is like the best thing is property, right? So if you can, get into your second property, that will be the best thing that you're doing. And at the same time, with your income levels, with your income thresholds, it also depends how much tax you pay. And if you have an investment property, you can definitely negative gear, and that will come in handy as well in terms of your as a tax strategy.
Sure.
But as a first home buyer, if you can increase your property portfolio, do it.
Once you get to a point where owning a second property as an owner-occupier and then say having the first become your investment property, would it be a general rule of thumb that you could use negative gearing as a strategy in a lot of circumstances? Does it apply to a large number of people, I suppose, is what I'm asking. That's
a very good question, Julian. What happens is, so the question is that you want to know, is it good to use negative gearing to buy the next property, or can the negative gearing used as an income to purchase a property, right? Yes, you can. Not all banks do it, but most of the banks, they do consider investment negative gearing as, they add it back towards the income threshold. Definitely, yes. Yeah.
That's always good to know. What might people not be aware of with negative gearing? What can they do that they might not know that they can do?
Good question. It's the same question like when Julian said, I'm a first home buyer, what do you think what I should do? And the thing is, with negative gearing, and the second question that Julian asked was, can negative gearing can be used as to couple it along with the income? This is something that people don't know. Because and also most of the lenders, only an experienced lender would know that, negative gearing, the interest cost and all these things can be added back as an income. And also they think the banks are not doing it, but there are few banks who accept that too. So this is something that nobody knows much. And also the other thing is, this is something that if a customer has a good accountant, and if the accountant is really looking after the customer, and depending on their income and they do their tax return, they would advise, hey, listen, as a tax strategy, you need to have an investment property which can be negative geared. So sometimes accountants, they don't come up with it, because I'm not like saying anything to accountants, but I have met a lot of people, right? I have met a lot of people. When I'm doing their loans, when I'm checking out their documents, stuff like that, I just tell them, hey, listen, you should think of an investment property, but did your accountant speak to you? No, my accountant didn't speak to me about it. So these are the things that they need to get out there and look for. As you said, I'm a first home buyer, I need to create my wealth, I need to buy a property. How do I do that? So there are lots of avenues, in the market, in terms of increase your property portfolio. Even though if you can't do that, now I would answer that question to Julian. Because Julian, if you don't have the right income right now, but if you come to me, I will sit with you and draw up a plan, right?
Yep.
In 1 year's time, let's buy investment property. In terms of that, you need to have these things, these steps, right?
Yeah.
So these are the things that people don't know. They need to seek out and reach out for not advice, like to get to know more knowledge and to see how they can get well. Maybe it's not today, but it can happen in the next year.